Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Articulating with David Barnett. My name is Anna Thornton. I'm the gallery assistant here at the gallery, and with me, as always, is the owner and director of the David Barnett Gallery, David Barnett.
Welcome everyone. We hope you enjoy our podcast.
Yes, so today we have a really wonderful topic. We're going to be talking about the artist Marc Chagall. We've actually done a podcast on him in the past, so if you want to check that out, we'll put a link in the description box for our YouTube video of that. But we're revisiting this artist because we just had around 40 pieces that we recently acquired. And so our next show is going to spotlight all of those new acquisitions. So today we're giving you kind of a sneak peek of what that exhibition will look like. We've picked a handful of pieces that are really vibrant and whimsical, and we hope you'll enjoy it. So with that, we'll dive right into our first piece. This one is titled Profile and Red Child. It's an original color lithograph, and he produced it in 1960. So as the title suggests, on this left side here we have a really tall profile of a man, and his hand is kind of sticking out across the composition. And then there's the moon and a woman, and kind of hovering above his hand is this little red child. And what really sticks out to me about this piece is the scale, because the profile and the hand are so much larger than the child. And it's kind of ambiguous. Is this figure, is he protecting the child? Is he kind of a threatening presence? Is he going to squish him in his fingers? Or what's going on here in this image? How do you read it, David?
Well, I think your interpretation is quite brilliant.
Oh,
really, very perceptive. But of course, as we know, viewing artwork is based on the individual.
Right.
Each individual's own past history, the way our individual brains are wired, our past experiences, and how we look at things and our perception. And so, to me, a really good work of art always brings the viewer into the picture, and you can use your own imagination. Right. To me, that means you have a successful artwork.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that it is. It's up to the interpretation of the viewer to decide what the figure is and what his intention is. And
some of his classic iconography, with the angels and with the bouquet, the blue bouquet here, and the moon, and here's. This is a cow or a goat, or I'm not sure what kind of animal that is.
Yeah.
There. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very surreal.
And the eye almost looks like a fish, which sometimes he uses, sometimes floating.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
All right.
Great, next piece. All right, next we have a really lovely piece. It's titled The Ballet, Daphne and Chloe. It was created in 1969. And Marc Chagall was really involved in the arts, and not just in visual art, but he also was involved in operas and theaters, and what he would do for that was he would design the sets and the costumes. And so this piece in this series for Daphne and Chloe kind of came out of that practice where he would do those designs. So here on the left we have Chloe. She's dancing very whimsically, and then on the right is Daphne. And I don't know if you're familiar with the story of Daphne and Chloe, but it actually comes...
Tell us about it.
Yeah, it comes from an ancient Greek novel by Longus, and historians actually say it's kind of one of the first recorded romance novels. So the kind of basic plot is that there's these two abandoned children, and each one is adopted by a group of shepherds. And so they grow up and they're friends, and they're out in the fields shepherding the sheep as they did. And so they become friends, and then eventually they fall in love. But their parents don't bless the union, and then all of these tragedies happen. So Daphne is kind of accosted by these different suitors, or not Daphne, Chloe, sorry, got their names mixed up. Chloe, she has all these suitors, and then she's kidnapped by pirates, and then before Daphne can rescue her, he's beaten up and thrown in a pit, and then these thugs kidnap him, and just when it seems like all is lost, the god Pan sweeps in and he rescues them, and then they're reunited and they live happily ever after. So that's the storyline for the ballet, which we see here.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So,
Daphne and Chloe, for me, is one of the best series of color lithographs that Chagall did in his lifetime.
why is that?
I think the colors are very unique and special to that series, as the delicacy that was demonstrated in this piece. Yeah, and Chagall didn't go to the art supply store like the rest of us to get his pigments. He would have his pigments ground from raw minerals.
Really?
So he was able to get amazing colors and nuances that no other artist could get.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is a great example of that.
It really is. Now, I feel like I heard you say in the past that this particular image out of the whole series of Daphne and Chloe images is one of the most significant. Could you expound on
Well, this is the only one from the portfolio that was done separately, and it's in the catalog raisonné.
Oh,
it's the only one.
Wow.
Yeah, on this scale.
That's good.
On the small scale.
Yeah. All right. Next, we have this really lovely piece called Maternity with Centaur. And the reason I wanted to talk about this piece was when I heard the title, that contrast between centaur and motherhood was it just caught my attention. Why would he put those two things together? Because they seem kind of opposite. But then I started reading about the symbolism here, and this is actually a very particular centaur named Chiron. And he was different from the rest of his creatures because he was more, I guess, civilized is the term, but he was renowned for being skilled with wisdom. He knew a lot about medicine, archery, music, and prophecy. He was also kind of the mentor to a number of different Greek heroes like Achilles and Jason and Heracles. So in this image, his presence isn't threatening. It's actually a protective kind of symbolic presence, and he's watching over the mother and her new child. So do you know, David, did he reference kind of Greek mythology in a lot of his different works?
Quite a few.
Yeah. And does that kind of add to the work in a particular way?
Definitely. It always does. Yeah. It adds another dimension, another viewpoint.
What about in this piece?
It brings it up from ancient history to very contemporary with this work.
Yeah.
So it really covers. And like you were saying, the contrast, it's kind of like the darkness and the light, or opposite things, that the contrasting elements that add attention and make it especially attractive composition.
Right, I agree.
Even the colors, like the blue and the oranges, they're complementary colors.
Right.
And the red and the green.
Exactly.
Complementary, so you have those.
All right, next up we have Still Life in Brown, created in 1957. And I really wanted to discuss this piece today because we're always talking about Chagall as an innovator, and I feel like this piece really demonstrates his innovation with regard to the genre of still life. Because when you first look at it, it really doesn't read still life to me. The first thing I see is this kind of bright, shining white orb, and then your eye travels down and you notice there's this little goat and he's prancing around on the table with the fruit and the dishes. And then you kind of notice the space around them it's not quite inside, not quite outside. The atmosphere is kind of diffused into one kind of space. And I just feel like that contrasts with traditional still lifes, especially kind of the Dutch masters who were so focused on light and capturing every tiny little reflection in the grape. And there's just so much movement here, which I guess is different for a still life, which is usually so static. But
when I was at the Chagall Biblical Message Museum in Nice, France, there was an exhibition that they put up from his collection. Of all the artworks were looking out the window.
Oh.
And I realized at that time that Chagall basically never did landscape paintings. He never did things outdoors. Anything he did that had outdoors in was from inside looking out the window. And so here you see the window, and you're mentioning inside outside, which was very perceptive. And so, it's very interesting. Is it inside or outside? It's where is he standing looking out the window?
Right.
He's looking here. He's back here. The still life is here with the windows open, looking outside at the moon.
Right. Yeah, that's another thing that caught my attention too, was the time of day he chose. That he chose to depict it at nighttime when the light is so dim. Because I feel like with traditional still life, it's
What is the title of this?
Still Life in Brown.
Okay, it doesn't reference the moon or anything, but it's definitely the moon.
Yeah.
So it's a full moon.
I would think so.
And lighting up the still life.
Yeah.
Table.
Yeah, and I guess because it's nighttime too, it kind of influenced the color palette he used, because there's very little actual color. There's a little
Just
bit
with
of
the-
pale blue and
With the chicken.
some magenta and orange. But yeah, I think it's innovative in terms of the still life too, because with the light, so much of the light, the emphasis is usually on color. But here he kind of scales back on that.
Which is also special with Chagall because he's so noted for all his color, but he really had a totally original, unique style, which is very evident just looking at the black and white pieces.
Exactly, yeah.
It really shows that off.
Next up, we have Sun with Red Horse. And this is a very whimsical scene. It depicts the circus. So here we've got the red horse, and then there's a figure riding on its back, and then there's this amazing acrobat who's doing this incredible backflip over her head, and then we have the sun, and it's playing a violin, and so we see kind of a lot of different iconographies that Chagall uses. Doesn't he use the violin in other pieces?
Yes,
Is that correct?
definitely.
Yeah. So Chagall, he was kind of fascinated with the circus and with clowns and performances. And I found a quote while I was researching, and he said about the circus, "It's a magic world, the circus, an age-old game that is danced, and in which tears and smiles, the play of arms and legs take the form of great art. The circus is the performance that seems to me the most tragic. Throughout the centuries, it has been man's most piercing cry in his search for entertainment and joy. It often takes the form of lofty poetry. I seem to see a Don Quixote in search of an ideal, like the marvelous clown who wept and dreamed of human love." So I just thought that was such a great quote, because it really gets kind of beyond the surface and glamour of the circus and kind of just hits those notes of tragedy and other emotions that you might not think of at first.
I love this figure, almost bird-like.
Yeah.
Rising.
Yeah.
With the feathers, And this is almost like a moon.
Oh, I didn't think of that. Yeah, I can see it.
Crescent moon. And the angels.
And
the conductor here.
Right. It's so lively.
He really captures the movement of the circus ring.
I agree.
Where your eye moves around, keeps coming around with the audience and the horse and everything.
Yeah. And I feel like circuses, I guess they were more prevalent back then. They were more of an attraction. Do you know kind of historically what?
Well, of course, in Europe, the circus was always an important cultural event. And then was brought to the United States later.
Yeah. Okay, so next we have another circus-related image. It's titled "The Circus," and Chagall created it in 1960. So kind of the forefront of the composition is the clown, and he's doing his performance. And then there's another clown in the bottom right-hand corner, the classic Chagall goat in the left corner. You can see the audience in the background. And then there's this lovely little figure floating in the sky up here playing a flute or some kind of other
type of woodwind.
Yeah.
It even could be a ram's horn.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. And it's very interesting because it's less colorful than a lot of Chagall's, being yellow, black, and white. And where the white is actually the paper, but it becomes the use of, from an artist standpoint, positive, negative space, where he uses the negative space actually becomes positive space, becomes part of it, yeah, from an artist standpoint. And again, the circular motif, your eye follows it around with the audience and the way his arms are moving around and the flow of everything. And it's kind of a hybrid or a transitional piece in a sense. Chagall did a series of black and white drawings and black and white lithographs. And also Matisse did the same thing. There was both considered to be two of the greatest colorists in modern art. But both were interested in a certain period of time where they just wanted to do black and white. And of course, the thing about looking at Chagall's black and white works, and more monochromatic works, you can see his unique drawing style, which kind of gets sometimes you lose track of because of the spectacular color. So this is more evident. The drawing, his unique special drawings, his own style in his piece.
All right, next up we have this really lovely piece called Vision of Paris. Chagall created this in 1960. And so here in the center we have the Eiffel Tower. Of course, you couldn't have Paris without the Eiffel Tower. And then we have this kind of face looking out of the center of the tower. This kind of looks like a body of water, maybe? Do you think
that's the River Seine.
Yeah.
With the bridge right near the Eiffel Tower.
Right. That's so cool. And then, of course, we have the moon, the top. Chagall loves the moon.
And the Arc de Triomphe.
Oh, I didn't even notice that before. Oh, yeah. And then it looks like there's maybe, is that a goat in the top of the tree?
Yeah.
And then maybe a bird on the side.
I think you're mentioning about the face in the Eiffel Tower. The personification of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
Is pretty interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah. And to me, I'm thinking of this as a self-portrait that Chagall did.
Oh.
So that, when you have something as iconic as the Eiffel Tower and the artist's ego, kind of goes hand in hand.
When I was researching this piece, I found this really lovely quote that Chagall said that was about his time in Paris. It's kind of a long one, but I think it's really good, so I'm going to share it with you. I left my native land in 1910. At that moment, I decided that I needed Paris. I came because I sought the light of Paris, its freedom, its refinement, and the skills of the craft. Paris lit up my shadowy world like the sun. But in seeing the light at the Louvre and elsewhere in France, I did not forget the country where I was born. On the contrary, I saw it more clearly. I could, of course, have expressed myself in the town where I was born.
Vitebsk, Russia.
Yes. But I wanted to see with my own eyes the things I had heard about so far away, that so-called revolution of the eye, the colors that blended freely into each other, reflecting the light, both striving energetically with one another in the flow of a studied or a casually dominant line. The sun of art shone only in Paris. It seemed to me then, as it still does, that there can be no greater revolution of the eye than I experienced on my arrival in Paris.
beautiful.
Yeah, so
It is poetic.
It is poetic, and I just really wanted to share that because I feel like it gives us kind of a little look into his perspective and how just formative his time in Paris was to his process as an artist, and
the influence that it had on him.
Yeah.
The impact.
And he talks about just the light in Paris, and I feel like we can see that here, just the soft pinks and yellows kind of blending into each other.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah,
That was beautiful.
You're welcome. All right, next we have Chagall's self-portrait at the easel, which he made in 1963. So here we have one of those pieces from his time in black and white that you were just mentioning. And I think that's a really striking decision for his self-portrait because it really takes away all the distraction of the color and really leaves you with kind of the form that he wants to embody. And the self-portrait for the artist, art historically, is a really long-standing tradition, and I feel like it can really tell you a lot about how the artist sees themselves and the way that they depict themselves at their work. I always think of Rembrandt when I think of the artist's self-portrait because he did so many.
Such great self-portraits.
Yeah. I think I read he made over 80 self-portraits.
Rembrandt did?
Lifetime. Yeah.
I didn't realize it.
But what do you see when you look at this? What does Chagall reveal about himself?
Well, you know, he's got himself in profile, which was not unlike Picasso.
Oh.
Paintings.
Yeah.
And the two of them were friends and rivals at the same time.
Oh, okay. So he's definitely referencing that.
Yeah.
Did they work together and kind of?
They did actually.
Oh.
Yeah, I had seen a photo of them in Valéry's, the pottery shop, where they both were working on ceramics at the same time.
Oh, cool.
I like the composition with the goat down here, and then with the kind of like the bird, but it's almost like angel wings, upside down.
Yeah, it's like he's falling. Yeah, to me what stands out is that he has his hand kind of over his heart, like he's really affected by what he's painting, and his eye is really fixed on the canvas in front of him.
Yeah, that's a good point, because that's the center focal point of the whole composition, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like he's really painting from his heart.
Spoken like a true artist and art historian.
Oh, thanks. Okay, next we have a really great piece titled The Bay of Angels, which Marc Chagall created in 1960. And so here you can see there's kind of a coastline, some little palm trees swaying in the wind.
That represents the Mediterranean.
Yes, it does.
And the promenade in Nice.
Yeah.
That he loved to paint.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the Bay of Angels is actually a real place. It's not just I thought it was just part of the title, but yeah, and so then on the side here, I was thinking at first because of the title that this was an angel, but then when you look at it more closely, you realize it's more like a mermaid tail or something, like she's a bird creature. And then...
Yeah, it's like a fish.
Yeah, it is.
With a bouquet.
And then the color palette.
And here's the couple walking along the shore of the Mediterranean. The promenade.
Yeah. You've been to Nice, right? Does this kind of
Probably 25 times.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Does this capture the spirit of
Very much so.
Yeah. Yeah, I
the
guess.
Warmth.
The warmth.
And charm.
Yeah. And the red light kind of echoes that one, too.
The palm trees.
Yeah, this image, when Chagall created it, was actually such a big hit that the tourism office of France commissioned him to make another image. Yeah, a poster. So they're trying to ramp up tourism in Nice. So there's another image that's kind of similar to this one. Okay, here we have our last piece. In the catalog raisonné of Chagall's lithographs, this is actually titled 20th Century Homage to Chagall. But we just didn't really feel like that title captured the spirit of the piece, so we decided to rename it Evening Memories. This was kind of created later in Chagall's career in 1969. But that title change, I really started thinking about the first title, Homage to Chagall, and why he would call it that. But I feel like it does kind of make sense because we see, since this is later in his career, he's developed these kind of classic Chagall iconographies, and this piece really has so many of those.
It's almost like a collage of different pieces.
It is.
Different images.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got the goats, the moon.
Self-portrait.
Uh-huh. And then would this be kind of his city?
Could be, it could be. Right here.
Mm-hmm.
This little village.
Yeah, and then the title got me thinking about just homages in general. Because you actually have a series called Homage to Chagall, don't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Chagall's been a big influence on you.
Yeah, for my famous artist series.
Yeah. So did you include some of these same kind of
Chagall images?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I've used a number of original Chagall images as a point of departure, and use that as the nucleus of the work and worked around it.
Yeah.
Paying homage to Chagall, who I always admired from the time I was 6 years old, when I first saw books and catalogs on his works.
What was it about his work specifically that drew you in?
I think the freedom, spontaneity, and the whimsy of it, and pretty much all of that, the inventiveness, and the spectacular uniqueness of his style and color, it really connected with me.
Yeah. All right, now to wrap things up, I did have this one last quote from Chagall that I wanted to share. It didn't quite go with any of the images in particular, but I just thought it would be nice to leave you with it, and then you can reflect on it through your day. So Chagall said, "In our life, there is a single color, as on an artist's palette, which provides the meaning of life and art. It is the color of love." Marc Chagall. Okay, so thank you everybody for tuning in for another episode of Articulating with David Barnett. Make sure to look out for our next show, New Acquisitions of Marc Chagall. That'll run through October 17th through January 13th. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe in the link below. So till next time.
Thank you for listening. We look forward to seeing you and hearing from you next time.